Hi and welcome back to Channel 0X. This is Michael Landon and this is Caroline.
Hey everybody.
Hi everyone. Sorry we've been away for so long, but Caroline does have an explanation for it.
Well, yeah, pass the buck. No, basically the explanation is we have worked really, really hard and we needed a proper break. At the end in December, we didn't have really enough time, enough energy to do the videos, and we needed to recuperate, that's all. But thank you for passing the buck on that one to make it look like I'm the lazy one.
Yeah, and I think that's successfully done, but considering there's been just like so much interesting stuff going on.
Smooth. But before we get to that, just to wish everybody a happy new year.
A happy new year to you all. I hope you've had a great one. I hope you're all having fun now. I hope you're not in that kind of like downshift phase that they talk about in January, where everybody gets, pretty kind of like down on the whole idea of how life is going, because of course all the festivities are over. What they look forward to now, apart from February,
we don't want to hear about.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it, so they won't want to hear about it.
We're here to bring the fun back, the festivity back into people's life.
Yes, we are, but we needn't remind them of what's gone. Yeah. But anyway, over to industrious you, as opposed to lazy me, to introduce the first subject.
Yeah. So what is the light at the end of this tunnel that we're talking about? This is going to be news about Darth Vader returning to episode 9.
Which you have already heard this rumour, we're sure. But
look, let's face it, it's all hearsay as far as anybody knows.
Remind me where it came from?
I think it came originally from Lucasfilm themselves. Basically,
that one.
Yeah, they are bigging up Darth Vader in a kind of big way at the moment, because there is the Darth Vader the shards of the past, but there's also
and just to interrupt, the shards of the past is absolutely awesome.
We'll get to that in a second. It really is. There's also the Darth Vader Immortal.
Do you know, I'm just laughing because you're saying we'll get to there in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd just like to say to the viewers that the relationship has changed. Mike now runs everything and I merely act according to his direction. So yes, you were saying?
Yeah, as I was just saying, that this Darth Vader Shards of the Past seems to be something that is getting Lucasfilm maybe a little bit worried, because there seems to be. Yeah, because there is more talk now. There is people who are closer to Lucasfilm than general Comicsgate audiences. I guess Mike Zero would be one of these YouTubers who has kind of more of a closer contact to Lucasfilm than other Comicsgaters. He's not one of us in the kind of abbreviated commas. But the thing is to remember, we have no idea what is going to be in episode 9, but anything that comes before...
I don't think it's going to be anything near that vignette, 15 minutes, 16 minutes, whatever it was. That was brilliant. I can't see anything close to that from episode 9.
What I'm getting is that Lucasfilm are waking up to the idea that they've paid so much money for this property, $4 billion. I don't know any fictional property that's ever been as expensive, but now they know that they've got to capitalize in its kind of do or die time.
But just to say, and I don't know who the person is on Twitter, I can't remember your name, so I'm sorry, but somebody out there deserves the credit for this, in saying they are desperate. They're actually going to resurrect Alec Guinness's bones from his coffin. They are throwing everything.
I'm sure they're working
at this, and that guy made a very good point.
I'm sure they're working towards it, but I think Alex's bones can rest in peace a little while they
but that guy made a very good point. They're literally, it's like, those propeller things that spin out shit.
They want a perpetual motion machine of money. That's the ideal gravy train, the duck, the goose that laid the golden egg. They consider that they've got that. It should have worked out that way.
Yeah, but again, there was a very good gif on Twitter about that. I won't say more, but it showed Marvel manufacturing something.
Yeah, but doesn't it concern you that so far they've put so much money and so much effort into trying to promote these new characters that they've created, that Disney have created?
The reason it doesn't concern me, I think, is because I am already completely and utterly, in the word, which is staggering to use for start, indifferent, because they've already, the betrayals are already so great that I'm not disappointed by anything I hear.
We've got a confession to make, which is that we have boycotted Solo so far, but we're going to watch it so that we can be more informed on the subject, because it seems that just about everybody else who understands about what state Star Wars is in has seen that movie as well. There are some people who have maybe steadfast against
and seen some of the other crappy Marvel movies.
Yeah.
I mean, some people will see Captain Marvel, for the mere service of bringing to the rest of us. Sorry, I'm digressing.
I get the feeling actually Captain Marvel is going to be boycotted a whole lot more than even Solo was. I'm pretty confident about that, but we'll get around to that.
Yeah, anyway, sorry. I was just digressing.
But in terms of Star Wars, the biggest brand recognition that they have has got to be Darth Vader. You ask anybody in the street, name a Star Wars character, they might say Luke Skywalker, or they might say Darth Vader.
No, even people who haven't watched Star Wars and they are out there know Darth Vader.
Yeah, and then you know what he looks like. They kind of have a general idea of what he's about. Not everybody necessarily knows that he's Luke's father, but that's almost not so relevant to his character in the minds of so many people.
Do you know a really funny thing? I'm friends with a woman that just wouldn't know what Star Wars is. And yet when I said I was trying to describe somebody's hairstyle to her and I said it looked like Darth Vader's helmet, even she knew what it meant. And she's never seen the front.
She's had personal experience of what she knows Vader's helmet looks like. Darth Helmet is another character. Well, that's good for her. He's totally a household name. He's probably more of a household name than Luke. And Darth Vader, I've heard that there is a kind of way of scaling how people can recognize popular culture figures, which is if you can recognize the characters' silhouettes, then you have a better chance of saying you've got a household name. If you can show anybody, the general average person, who just the shadow, just the silhouette of somebody.
The point being.
So Darth Vader, I would say, is probably completely up there. There's other characters now who are up there, like Bart Simpson. Most people would recognize his silhouette.
But in terms of coming back to the Star Wars movie, the other thing that I've heard is about the Anakin Force Ghost, and that's just unthinkable.
What you may say it's unthinkable, but why are they doing it?
Prequels. I mean, now they're attaining an almost respectable status because of how awful we've seen since is.
What do you mean the prequels?
Well, how awfully he's a nice guy, Hayden Christensen. There's no doubt. I've seen interviews with him, but his acting in the prequels was absolutely diabolical.
Okay, the reason why I think this is mooted to be happening, I've looked at the Force Awakens Art of book, and it's got quite a bit of artwork in there. It's been raised again in kind of social media now. Pictures of Anakin in a kind of cross-phase.
I bought it.
In a kind of cross-phase manifestation of being half Anakin, half Darth Vader, variations on that.
Which is all lovely in terms of the concept at the head of the artist, but not great in the way it was translated to the screen.
What it seems is that
Shard of the Past did that much better.
What I gather is that they're basically junking Last Jedi almost in its entirety, because so much of it undid the storylines, the plot lines that were developed in Force Awakens, whether people liked them or thought they were of any use or not. Last Jedi kind of did away with that when people had expectations of certain answers being made or to their satisfaction. And now Lucasfilm surely know that to most people there was no satisfaction to be had. Now, when they have all of this artwork produced for The Force Awakens that never saw fruition because it was either junked or because it was it's not quite the time, maybe somebody else can pick up from where we leave off here. These images are resurfacing.
So you're trying to say, and we're getting up to 9:22. So, are you trying to say then that you think that they can successfully bring back those concepts and make them into episodes 4, 5, and 6? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think they can successfully bring back Darth Vader, no matter what kind of contortions they go through. But they are desperate.
Well, they do say the universe has infinite possibility, but this is the furthest, the remotest I can think of.
The most likely variation I can think of is not that exciting, which is a flashback scene or several flashback scenes of Darth Vader. And I'm thinking, well, we've already had that with Rogue one, what is the big deal? Why bother? It may, yes, it will obviously be a kind of like
I
a
think we
gesture
probably
to
have
the
to finish the
audiences
video
to say,
because you've crashed out my brain with Rogue One. I've literally going into flatline.
well, Darth Vader appeared in it. That's, probably
Yeah, no,
the
but
thing you remember.
my voluntary functions are being overridden because my brain is literally crashing with the very thought of that film.
Don't worry. We're never going to subject you to Rogue One again. I know that some people consider it to be the best Disney film that's been brought out so far, but for us, it is a kind of whole mass of problems, mostly kind of gravitating towards the fact that it was so boring, but a lot of you disagree.
Yeah.
The last 5 minutes or so with Darth Vader was admittedly pretty awesome, but there's only so much you can do. We want to investigate this a little bit further. What can they do with Darth Vader? What can they definitely not do?
But what I
with
also
Darth
want to
Vader
talk
with any
about in our
credibility?
next video, I really want to talk about, the things that are happening with Doctor Who, which is a show that not many people watch, and also I guess a bit of this end, and also you alluded to Captain Marvel
Enough
earlier.
people.
The Captain Marvel, could it be the end of the Marvel universe? I want to kind of discuss those in the next video.
We're going to discuss all of these guys, these characters. They are, some of them we're familiar with, some of them are not so familiar. Captain Marvel is not somebody I've ever read, but I've always been aware growing up of her existence, mainly through the X-Men. We're going to explore that a little bit further. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks.
Nice to have you back for the first time in 2019.
Thanks for joining us. Hope you've had a great new year. Please join us again. We're going to be back very soon with talking about Captain Marvel.
And more regularly. This is a promise that you will see through the eating of the pudding.
And more Darth Vader news. Yeah.
God, that was weird. The eating of the pudding. I used completely weird syntax for that. But anyway, wherever you are, have a safe afternoon or evening and take care. Bye-bye. And subscribe and like.